Hello, and welcome to this Foster Care Institute online training webinar. Fire Starters, Children Who Play with Fire and How to Address It. I am your host, the founder and director of the Foster Care Institute, Dr. John DeGarmo, a consultant, trainer, author, and foster and adoptive parent. Our goal during this webinar is to increase awareness of why children might start fires and how to help stop this behavior, this dangerous behavior. Participants during this Foster Care Institute online training webinar will increase their awareness of why a child might be a fire starter and the reasons behind this behavior. Participants will also gain understanding of how to develop and implement strategies designed to best provide support and help foster parents as they try to prevent a child from starting a fire. There are some myths about fire starting that we need to examine and dispel those myths. Let's look at some of the myths about fire starting. Some believe it is normal for children to play with fire. That is a myth. The fact is this: it is normal for children to have a curiosity about fire. Many children are curious about fires. Why do they start? How do they start? Is it hot? Is it cold? So many children have curiosities, and curiosity, of course, is healthy. What is not normal, though, is for children to start or play with fires. Myth: fire starting is a fad or a phase that children go through and soon age out of. The fact is this: fire starting is not a fad. Fire starting is not a phase that a child will go through. Indeed, this type of behavior, fire starting, playing with fire, is most dangerous and should always, always be taken seriously. Myth: you can stop a child from starting fires by burning their hands. Indeed, this is a myth. As silly as it might sound, as dangerous as it might sound, it is a myth. The fact is this: burning a child's hand will not deter or stop him from starting a fire. But it will leave scars. It will endanger a child, and it will cause great anxiety and trauma for that child. Each year, in the United States, roughly 380,000 home fires occur every year. This results in over 3,000 deaths each year by home fires in the United States. Indeed, 13,000 people are injured each year by home fires. And in truth, children are particularly at risk during these home fires. Children in the United States set fires more than 20,000 times each year. This is on average of nearly 400 fires every single week, again, in the United States every year. 150 children die per year from fires, and it causes about 1,000 injuries every year from children setting fires. More than half of these fires, more than half of home fires, are started by children in preschool or in kindergarten. And in truth, boys are more likely to start a fire than a girl. Most fires started by children happen when a child is home alone or when the child is not supervised by an adult, parent, caregiver. Many of these home fires are set when a child is playing in their home while hiding in some fashion. Many children play or set fires in their homes while they are hidden in the closet, hidden in the bedroom, hidden in a basement, or hidden in an attic. So, why might a child start a fire? Well, let's examine. As we've seen elsewhere here at the Foster Care Institute, each time a child is placed into a foster home, it is a time of great anxiety. Child is filled with anxieties. It's a time of confusion, a time of fear. For some children, it is a time of anger, and for others, it may be a time of distrust. When a child is placed into a foster care home, it is often a time of great anxiety. During the early years of a child, young children who set fires may do so, as we saw earlier, out of simple curiosity. They're just curious, how does a fire start? Or do so by accident when playing with matches or a lighter, perhaps the matches or a lighter of their parents or somebody in the home. Now, during these early years, children may simply not recognize or understand the dangers, the realities of a fire. In fact, it is during these early years that children often do not know how to respond to a fire once the fire may have been set. These young children who play with fire may set a fire when playing with matches, playing with a lighter, playing with candles, or even the simple fascination that so many children have with a magnifying glass. Some children may set a fire simply to get your attention. For you see, many children in foster care have never had a parental figure pay attention to them in any sort of positive fashion. So setting a fire might be that child's way of getting just a little bit of attention from you. Due to all the stress, the anxiety, the challenges they're feeling and they're undergoing, setting a fire by this child might be a call for help to you, a call for help to a caseworker, a call to help for anybody who will pay attention. Now, those children who struggle with being impaired in a cognitive fashion, who are cognitively impaired, if you will, or who are developmentally delayed, developmentally disabled in some way, may also have challenges with good judgment skills. Now, it is most likely, that you've had children in your own home as a foster parent who have struggled with making good, sound judgment, making sound, good, rational, logical choices. For those children who are indeed struggling with impaired cognitively or developmentally delayed in some fashion, setting fires to them does not in any way, they struggle with good judgment. They cannot judge, they cannot determine, they cannot make that determination that setting a fire is something that is dangerous, something they should not do. And again, they're doing so because they're struggling in this fashion. Other children may set fire in an attempt to fit into a particular social group, peer pressure, if you will. Others may set fires due to cultural issues, such as during times of riots or unrest, where they're seeing their members of their own family Members of their own culture, if you will, doing the same thing. And they're simply following suit. They're simply doing what they see from example from others. Those children who struggle with paranoia, who are delusional, who are chronically disturbed in some way, in some fashion. These children who are struggling with paranoia, who are delusional, chronically disturbed, these children may also have a fascination with setting a fire. Indeed, they may be preoccupied in doing so. They may have the preoccupation of setting fires. Other children simply may wish to bring harm to themselves or may wish to harm another person by setting a fire. Indeed, all of these reasons why a child might set a fire are frightening. They should frighten you because fires, as you well know, are very, very dangerous. So what do you do? How can you help stop this behavior? Well, for those children who are placed into a foster care home and who are already struggling with issues of trust, issues of attachment, who are struggling with being placed in your home, how you address that child may be very, very difficult. For that child who has a history of fire setting, for that child who has a history of being a fire starter, playing with fire, setting fires, preoccupation with fire, whatever it may be, how you address these children can be very, very difficult. Now let's begin with the basics. To begin with, as we've seen in other Foster Care Institute webinars, including the one on house safety, it is important and essential that your home have smoke alarms. Ensure that every floor in your house has a working installed fire alarm. These fire alarms should be in the kitchen. They should be outside bedrooms. They should be beside bedrooms. They should be inside the bedroom. They should be on every single floor in your house. With these fire alarms, you need to, on a very, very regular and consistent basis, not only test the machine, but replace the batteries. A good rule of thumb is to replace batteries on the first of the year, January 1st, and the middle of the year, perhaps June or July. July 4th is a great time to do it. Christmas is a good time to do it. Just make sure that you are changing those batteries out twice a year. Furthermore, it is important that you keep a fire extinguisher on every level of the house as well. And of course, keep fire extinguishers near each bedroom. For myself, I keep 2 fire extinguishers in my own bedroom, one for my wife and one for myself if the need should arise. Now, as a parent, you need to be very, very cognizant. You need to be very, very aware of what your children are doing in your home. You need to notice what they are doing. You need to be aware if they are in possession of matches, if they are in possession of lighters, or other materials in your home, including a magnifying glass, that might indeed start a fire. You need to take notice and be aware. Every child in your home needs to know the importance of reporting a problem, reporting potential problems. If they see something, you need to teach them how to speak out against it in so many areas in life, and that includes fires. Teach the children in your home the importance of reporting potential problems and let an adult know if they find a match or a lighter in your home. You need to tell your children in your home, sweetheart, if you find any matches or lighters in the house, please let me know. Please let somebody in this house know. If they're not learning this from you, they may just simply ignore the problem. They may not recognize how dangerous these are. You need to create consequences, and these consequences need to be harsh. Create harsh consequences with a child when he plays with fire and talk about those consequences. If a child should begin playing with fire while in your home, while being placed in your home, you need to talk about the choice that that child made. Remind the child that there are consequences to every single action we take. And remind them that even though they may make a very poor and dangerous choice, and fire setting are indeed dangerous choices, you need to remind them that you still love them. You still like them. Yet, in no way and at no time is fire starting something that is acceptable in your house. That playing with fire, playing with matches, playing with candles, playing with lighters, that is never going to be acceptable in your house. Again, if they are not hearing this from you, there's a very good chance they may have never heard it from anybody. As we've seen in so many webinars and in the foster care survival guidebook, you are the example. Remember, children in foster care in your home are always, always watching what you do and listening to what you say. You are the example, and for so many of these children, you are the first positive example they've had in their life. Do you keep candles burning in the home? The children are watching you. Do you smoke? Again, the children are watching you. How about when you light a fire in the home and the stove, the oven, the fireplace? The children are watching you. How about during a party outside and you're grilling hot dogs or hamburgers or whatever it may be? The children are watching you. Do you have a campfire in your house when you're cooking s'mores outside during a summer evening? The children are watching you. This is a heavy responsibility. You are the example. Set a good example anytime you are setting fire to something. Again, you are the example. Never use a lighter that might resemble a toy in any way. Never use fire to entertain a child, to amuse a child, to impress a child. Again, at any time, in any way, in any fashion. Remember the importance of supervision. As you well know, children in foster care need to be supervised at all times for a number of reasons, and this includes playing with fire. If they're out of your sight, what are they doing? If you cannot see that child, do you know what he or she is doing? Supervision is so important when you are a foster parent. Indeed, as a parent of any child, whether it's your own child, biological child, a grandchild, a niece or nephew, you need to keep children in eye view and supervise them at all times. Every family should have some sort of fire escape plan. Make sure that you create an escape plan from your home if a fire should happen in your house. Every member of the family should know this fire escape plan. Indeed, you should discuss it with them. You should walk through it with them. You should show them where to go if a fire should happen. You should show them how they should leave the house in whatever way they should do it. And you need to practice this escape plan on a regular basis with those living in your home. The time to practice this is not the time a fire might occur in your home. You should be practicing this on a regular basis with those living in your home. So if you've not done so already, Create an escape plan in your home if a fire should happen. Have it in drawing. Discuss the escape routes from the home. Discuss the location all should go to when they leave the home, when they escape the home. And then practice this. Many children in foster care simply do not understand the dangers of fire when they're placed in your home. Talk to your children about these dangers and talk to them how a fire can not only harm a person or hurt a person very, very badly, but how it could even kill people. Do not take this lightly. Do not be afraid of scaring the children. This is something that is far too serious for you to take lightly. Indeed, discuss how fires can destroy possessions in your home, the entire home itself, all the property, and even whole neighborhoods could be engulfed in flame when a fire in a house should occur. The children in your home should be well aware about any laws against setting fires and about what arson is and how arson is a crime. Tell your children when they commit arson that can lead to arrest and jail. Let's be clear on this. If you are not sharing this information with the children in your home, then who is? Most likely these children have never heard it before being placed in your home, and you might be the first person who has ever discussed the severity, the seriousness of playing with fire, of setting fires, and how fires can destroy lives. You need to limit all opportunities a child might have when starting a fire in your home. Make sure that all matches, all lighters, and all fire starting materials are out of reach from the children in your home. If need be, make sure matches and lighters and other fire starting materials are locked up. Now, as we have noted before, in several of our Foster Care Institute webinars, you are not the expert on everything. Sometimes you cannot do it all by yourself. If it's a child in your home who has a history of playing with fires, you might wish to consider therapy. You might wish to consider counseling sessions to provide professional insight and help to that child. Indeed, you might wish to consider going so far as to have individual or family counseling sessions. It is important in all areas of foster care that you create an environment in your home and within your family where the child knows that she can come to you freely without any kind of judgment and to share her concerns, her thoughts, her fears, her feelings with you. It is important that you create that environment of trust with the children. And this takes time. This takes time. But when you create this sense of trust, when you create a warm, welcoming, non judgmental environment, this can help in establishing an environment where a child does feel trusted, does feel safe, does feel comfortable and loved, and this can help if the child has any thoughts about starting a fire or playing with fire. Because again, you're giving them an environment where they do feel comfortable and loved, which eases some of the anxieties in their life. Reassure them that despite the fact that she may have made a poor decision, maybe you caught a child playing with matches in your home. Maybe they were lighting candles. Maybe they were burning paper with a magnifying glass. Reassure them that even though they made this poor choice, that you will still love them. Display that type of love, that unconditional love, with your words and your actions. It is important that children in foster care feel valued, and that when they do make good choices, that you recognize. You recognize them for that. Every child wants to be recognized for making the right choice and for doing the right thing. So consider rewarding a child in some fashion for making good choices and being on good behavior in regards to lighters and matches and candles. You may wish to reach out to your own schools in your area, including the child's own school, and encourage them to talk about fire safety, to teach fire safety, to promote fire safety. Indeed, you might wish to go so far as to take the children in your home to visit the local fire station and some of the firemen and firewomen in your area. Indeed, many fire stations are welcoming and open and would gladly have children come and visit them to teach them a little bit about fire safety. And as always, a child in foster care needs constant encouragement from you. Praise him, praise him, praise him in all areas of his life. And let him know that you understand how hard it might be to live in your home, how hard it might be to follow your rules, and how hard it might be to make good choices, even when they're really struggling with some challenges, difficulties, or anxieties in their own life. Encourage them, praise them, and reward them. Fire setting, playing with fire, setting fires. Fire safety is a very, very important topic. Very important issue. This is one area that you must take seriously as a foster parent, and you have to sit down with the children being placed in your home and discussing all of this. If not, the end result could be disaster, and it could be the loss of life. For other issues in foster care, consult the new book, The Foster Care Survival Guide, the essential guide for today's foster parents. And indeed, we have several other books available for you at the Foster Care Institute as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking part in this webinar. Thank you so much for being a foster parent. Thank you for caring for children in need. And thank you for keeping children safe. For the Foster Care Institute, I'm Dr. John DeGarmo.